here. Shut up. God damn it.
I think we're good. I say that, but
You think we're good as in like live right now? That's what they all say? Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes they say those things.
I'm right roughly 75% of the time. I'm not.
There's been a bit of a Pavlovian response in my brain to the word sometimes.
Do you just randomly start begging for food?
Drilling.
Every time someone, yeah, exactly.
No, I just hear the lyrics to that one emo song in my brain.
Well,
that's every emo song there, Paul. Come on.
Yeah. That just like must have repeat in my brain. Ben, what is up?
Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome.
Watch your mouth for the gentleman comments.
Aboard.
Justin, hello. Hello. Ben made a comment. Good to see you guys this evening. Should we bookend this episode by saying that we're not going to be here next week?
We can, but I will also caveat that with if you're looking forward to this week's review, skip ahead 15 minutes. If you haven't watched the live stream live, and this is now a recording, if you want to see more review stuff, skip ahead 15 minutes. Continue on about next week and such.
Indeed. We will not be here. The Calgary Comic-Con is on, and timelines get a little crunchy. It's just too much overlap.
Physically impossible, sir.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Justin's leaving like a jerk. We'll see you later, I guess.
Yeah, he says those things.
Just do us a favor, put the video on loop and just mute it and put it in the background. Appreciate it.
There's worse things in life. It's I think, hopefully.
I mean,
it hasn't come to that. It's
hasn't come to that yet.
Well, so what y'all carrying?
Who wants to go first?
I can go first, just because my carry today was a little bit silly. Let me make sure it's actually mine that comes up first here. I carry 2 OTFs with me today.
Breaking the law.
One of which was a gift from these 2 fine curmudgeons. The Tack and Tweez.
There you go.
We're all curmudgeons, who am I kidding? CVV Tack and Tweez, a gravity-fed OTF. I was flicking these out earlier. Tactical tweezers. And the Kershaw capsule. Stupid little thing. I love it. I love them both.
Good times. Good times.
I agree with CJLA in chat.
Can't just say that.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you getting a lot of use out of your Tack and Tweez?
Have
you pulled any nose hairs out of attackers yet?
No. I don't think... No.
On a domestic flight, what do you think you're going to get harassed more about? The Tack and Tweez or the capsule?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't get it. They mesh together somehow. We just haven't figured out how it works yet.
That's like all the beacons right there.
Like a fucking Power Rangers weapon over here. It's going to be great.
Somehow that's a good.
Somehow.
Mm-hmm. You see, the body of the Tweez is a barrel. It's a square barrel, but it's a barrel nonetheless.
Those
Oh god.
riflins, they were good.
This
Yeah.
this is where we find out that square barrels were the right choice all along.
Jesus Christ. Against all logic.
Yeah,
See,
it's called a blunderbuss, dude. Like it's at that point you just put forks and spoons in it. Like it's yeah.
I thought those
I'm
were
here for it.
octagonal, but I'll go. Well, yeah.
They were whatever you wanted them to be, sir. It's
Oh, awful.
Indeed.
good times, good times. Yeah, yeah. So,
Do you want to go next, Dennis,
is
or
this
shall
the
I
railing
go?
of your new front place or new place?
Yes, it is.
Your new
Very
front
nice.
place. Hopefully,
My
you've
new-
got part of the back place as well,
It's
since
just
that would be
kind of
weird
a
otherwise.
just a void. We
It's
we
just
try
a green screen.
we try not to look at it too hard when we come in and out. So
I see you rented it yourself. Indeed.
something to scream into. As a treat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
awful.
Perfect.
All right,
Who's
Paul,
up next?
you wanna
I
throw
go next.
some action our way?
Indeed. I'm rocking my Arrakis again because it's the right choice.
It certainly is. Your
And,
choice of location is unsettling, but
Yeah. That is a handle that is overhanging off of said railing.
Uh-huh.
Getting
Yeah.
brave, sir. Getting brave. I mean, other people are getting brave. They just don't know it. It's
I looked. There was no one down there. It's fine.
then I've seen Final Destination.
I mean, it's here. I didn't leave it out there.
It's
unless you
Leave
secretly
it overnight just to see if it works.
this is step one. I'm just saying. Like this
There you
is
go.
how it starts. It's yeah.
I do have ADHD. I might forget.
yeah, that's probably not for the best. Please don't forget your
Mhm.
knife over a railing.
No,
That's
I think
a funky picture though.
Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah.
it's good stuff.
I live
Good
to
times.
make people uncomfortable with those photos.
I didn't think you were going to say with those photos. I thought you were just going to leave it at live to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah, I
was going to.
I'm not necessarily uncomfortable. I mean, like I wasn't walking below it when you were taking those pictures, so
To
would
be
have
fair,
laughed when you broke your $600 knife, but you know.
Yeah. It's either a super weapon or AIDS.
Oof.
Super AIDS.
Eh,
It's been a while since I've seen those episodes.
so yeah, I guess that leaves me. We're gonna get done early the way we're going. Jesus. Just for the record, Dick Richards, CJ, Infinite, Ben, what are y'all carrying tonight? Infinite ran away. He's not even gonna tell us. Jerk.
No.
He'll catch up later.
It's a butter knife for spreading his ketchup.
Camp chef's knife by Rough Rider.
Mm.
Got to watch out for getting mayo in that triangular hole, though.
It's not a great sentence.
I don't. Yeah, it's on the list of like great sentences. It's real low.
It's the competitive ranked set of sentences that
Yeah, doesn't even make.
doesn't even place.
No.
Oh. Okay. Let's see
all
your
right,
nice,
all
your,
right.
your
So,
nice picture.
yeah. Nothing too fancy about the whole thing, but recently I've come to realize that I can do some pretty fancy photo editing on my iPad, and so we downloaded a couple editors, and you might be seeing some of them over the next couple weeks here. But I also came to the realization that I own a Sleece Bowie, and I should show it off more often because it's arguably one of the nicer Spydercos ever created. So,
And the fact that you can't get it makes a lot of people really mad. And really spendy.
Like me.
What's the current going rate for this thing on the interwebs?
who knows? I've heard a G now, give or take. It's yeah.
Oh,
For the OG one, especially when the Knife Joy one came out. I don't know if it depreciated the original one or made it go up in value because everyone now searched out the original variation or whatever, but
Probably went up.
doesn't change the half a dozen scratches I got in the blade for scraping glue off of tile. But you know,
Yeah.
sometimes
Hey.
you got to do what you got to do with the Sleece Bowie. So that's
it's a knife and it works. You know, of all the knives between our collections that I think needs to have a retrospective at some point, I think the Sleesh Bowie might be a good choice.
It's not a ghost, Joe. It's not a ghost.
Should I mention that Ben's carrying his Adamas and CJLA is carrying his Chavez Liberation 229 Silver Bullet?
That's the libation. No, it's not.
Well, I think it's pronounced libel.
Also, Dick Richards is carrying his Phil Wilson Spyderco 8CR China knife, which I think is the Bow River.
Yeah,
probably
the Bow. Yeah. Came out with a couple handle variations, so you might have a brown one even floating around somewhere in the mix. So
a brown one
it's a
floating around.
Yeah, well.
CJ's telling us the wrong Chavez knife.
But on the outside note as well, I got some cool UFO action going on my picture. So
certainly,
it's pretty great. I was gonna ask what exactly you had photographed this on, but yeah, that makes sense.
It's actually just a lamp that is like downstairs looking whatever, but then got feisty with my editing. We lost Paul in the picture. I don't know about the audio, but
he is immobile. That's been happening more and more lately.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, we got audio. Oh, there we go. We got video a little bit.
That's strange. Everybody wave hi to Paul. Who knows when the next time we'll see him is. But yeah, you're back for now. But yeah, cool editing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I might tweak some stuff a bit more and play around with that because I think what was it called? Lightroom, I think is what the editor is called.
It's fun.
And the Lightroom video editor has got some stuff you can definitely play around with. So
very cool. Very cool.
Indeed. I almost stretched it out to 7:30. It was close.
I got us most of the way there. It's all right.
We're within that's right. People jump 2 minutes into the review and we'll have just started talking about relevant points. So we're good.
It's all right. We could faff for another minute and a half, but that might be a bit painful.
Are you saying we've got 2 minutes of irrelevant coming up? That's what I heard.
Well, we could.
We've got an hour and a half if we're counting minutes.
That's mean, but accurate. All right.
Ben's throwing out an FYI on your fan, and I've kind of thought about that myself, but yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. So here's the thing. Maybe. I actually don't know how the encoding works with that stuff. If I turn it off, it's going to get very uncomfortable in here. Can I change the angle?
It's okay, Joe. We can't smell it.
There. Now the fan's not on screen. Perfect. Looks like I should have things appearing on my wall here. Maybe one day.
Example, picture A.
If it gets really obnoxious, I'll...
It's spinning at a high enough RPM right now, but,
Yeah, I'm not sure what's different now compared to earlier. I don't know. Anyway.
Either way, CPM's carrying also a Chavez 229 kickstop silver bullet. We got Chavez buddies in the chat. Aww.
What was that? Aw.
You heard me.
Okay, but for real though, those Chavez kickstops, fuck. Every time I see the kickstop turn up on a new knife, it's like, oh, I didn't expect to like that knife with that mechanism, but now I do. I would like one at some point. For the uninitiated, it's essentially a floating flipper tab that sits inside the handle of the knife, so when you go to open it, the flipper doesn't extend to the forward portion of the knife, it stays inside the handle and acts as the stop pin. It's pretty goddamn cool.
Pretty neat.
I am drawing a blank as to who invented it, though, so apologies.
Was it Jared Osher that did some of those?
He had his F-22 models, I think, and a couple others. But it wasn't... Oh, my fan's back. That's weird. but he didn't invent it. I can't remember who. Oh, Lee Williams. Thank you, CPM. Of course you have that information readily available. Excellent. Did we lose Paul again?
Indeed. Maybe on the video. I don't know about
Weird.
audio again, but
It's weird that you're coming through consistently fine, but Paul seems to be cutting in and out. I don't seem to be having any issues changing our anything else. Weird. Well, he's not talking, so now I'm worried that we actually lost him.
we may or may not have actually lost him. Yeah.
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Boom goes the dynamite, apparently. So down to actually having a on-track review. Who are we kidding?
Well, it is about that time. We did promise them 15 minutes. But y'all saw the title. You know what you're here for. It's a Kershaw double review, baby.
Paul's phone died, apparently, so that's good timing. Good timing.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so hopefully his charge cable's long enough so he can run on.
Terrible. Good lord. Anyway.
Yeah, hopefully this works out. I guess if his phone's dead, we just gotta keep going without him.
Yeah, for sure. That's the game we're gonna play tonight, so.
Right.
So yeah, double review, you say?
Yeah. I forget exactly how we came to this conclusion, but there's a lot of similarities between these two. Makes sense to talk about them at the same time, I think.
Oh, I think the biggest similarity is that they came out with 2 thumb stud actuated access locks and 2 flipper actuated access locks. Actuated access locks is not the easiest thing to spit out, by the way. But anyway.
For Benchmade, too. Although Kershaw did it on their first 2 attempts.
Well, Duralock access, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
It's a legally distinct access lock, basically. It's just a different trade name for the same mechanism, effectively. So don't be confused. If you see the term Duralock, it's not because it's really anything different from the access lock. It's just the terminology involved. As far as I'm aware, it's a trademark, not necessarily. It's not a mechanical patent.
It's crossbarian in its
there
approach.
There are actually a couple companies who are calling their version of the access lock a crossbar lock, and it's like, sweet, that is exactly what you should be doing. Just like you should be calling that a liner lock. If you're not reinventing anything, just use a common name for it.
No one calls it a Reeve lock. Like
the Reeve and Turgle lock of Spyderco
some people do. Yeah, some people do.
Little old nobody by the name of Sal Glesser.
But there's a whole bunch. Anyway, yeah, for sure. So, do you want to dive on just random specs? I don't know if you've got them. I've seen them, whatever type of thing. The biggest thing to note, the Covalent is 3.2-inch blade. The monitor is 3-inch blade. So they're both right in that kind of mini Griptilian-ish size.
I had both of the knives bookmarked and loaded, but the other web browser crashed. So let me just reload those. Let's talk about the things that are similar between the two, and then maybe talk about the differences before we focus in on them. Both of them are using... they're both manual, so there's no spring assist on these guys. It's on KVT ball bearings. They're both using D2 tool steel. Both using a variant of FRN handles. I'm not 100% sure what if they're using a specific named version for the injection molded plastic that they're using, but
it's your basic glass-filled nylon.
Okay, so relatively straightforward. Tough, lightweight. Some people don't like the feel of plastic, but I will say on the monitor in specific, the lower one, they kind of went for this like faux G10 feeling on the top section. I think they did a pretty good job with it. It feels relatively tacky. Like not tacky like bad, but like tacky like textural,
Yeah, they figured it out a couple times on having the nylon feel G10 enough-ish type of grippy to it.
Like
I would say it's better than the job that CRKT has done.
Oh, my light's
kind of trying to texture their nylon, right? Like it's Apparently, I'm the only one left on this live stream. Joe's just walking away from the goddamn thing too.
No. I just realized my light wasn't on. It's gonna start getting dark in here. But I did hear what you said. Yeah.
Sure, you did.
Most
That's
of it.
what they all say.
Oh, hey, Paul's back.
That's what Paul says too, but we'll see how
Well,
long that lasts.
that's what my computer says about Paul. I think the lighting for my face was actually better with the light off. That's irritating. Okay.
Well, we're gonna work with it.
Yeah. The what I was going to say too is like other companies have tried different means of getting texture onto plastic. I just happen to have a handy dandy example here, the Spike from Cold Steel, and it has this kind of like brick-like lattice texture. Oh man, that's super hard to see in this camera. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that actually did come up at that angle.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there
for
we go.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see it there. It works, but it definitely still feels like injection molded plastic. This feels like what you would very close to what you would expect, like the top of a PM2 to feel like.
Or like peel ply ish, where you
Yeah.
might have this layer of G10 and then peel plied onto some nylon or whatever, where I believe it's just one chunk of nylon that they just mill, right? That texturing actually is very reminiscent of the pockets on the Covalent as well.
Yes,
Like
yes. The
inner pocketing, so to speak, right? So Paul
back,
is
sir.
trying to connect to audio.
There we go.
Hey, man.
Hi.
Welcome back, Sir Paul.
Kinda high. We got some audio again, but your picture's being a bitch. So
Yeah,
oh wait,
sure.
sorry, that's just your pitch. No, I'm
Dude, going for emotional damage on that one.
I know, I thought he came back. I put him square right off the bat. Seriously.
Yeah, trying to hurt my feelings.
Well, you could have worse still images to freeze by, so I think you're back now. But yeah.
Looks like it, yeah. But
Yeah,
yes,
maybe.
like we're just talking about the similarities between these two knives, and we were starting to talk about the pockets on the Covalent, the top one in the gray. We also, I just realized we didn't actually specify which was which. In this picture, the monitor is the all black guy on the bottom. The one with the gray handles and kind of the black wash finish is the Covalent. But yeah, decent texturing in the pocket as you want it. Okay, that's going to get too specific. But anyway, I think that for being plastic handles, I think both of the knives are executed fairly well. It's very easy to have a plastic handle knife that feels like garbage, and neither of these feel terrible in hand.
Okay, I thought you guys might have been talking about the monitor. Is the monitor not G10?
No, it's
no.
It's injection molded nylon. But we were talking about how
Okay, they did a really good job of making it.
Yeah. Feels like peel ply.
G10 like. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Like,
and
really?
we were talking about potentially peel ply or something like that. Whereas no. They just checkered it. Good enough. We do have a comment saying your fan is giving people seizures, but that's something to work with. We might have to look at a forward-facing fan or something like that towards you. Then you can just look like your hair is blowing one lustrously in the wind the whole time.
Yeah, have it at a nice 45 and just. Yeah.
We might have to figure something out there because I have actually noticed the same distraction since you've moved as well, type of thing, right? But
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
Slingshot Life is just jacking with you, but I don't even know which direction to take that. So
Yeah. I'm mostly concerned about the width.
Jokes need to get. Yeah, well, you do what you can.
Anyway, covalent monitor, you say? Yeah, it's not G10, Paul. It's
Neat.
Both of them do feature very deep carry clips. I will bitch about that later. Spoiler alert. But they both have the same kind of deep carry clip. And anyway.
I mean, we think we have a couple pictures of that. We can talk about it if we want. Yeah, we might as well talk about clippage.
I think you actually sent a picture of the
It,
centering of both knives that shows off both of the clips. Yeah, that's
I
perfect.
well, it was actually a clip intentional picture. The centering was more just the monitor wasn't quite right, but that was also the angle of the camera. So I can't actually fault the monitor that much. If you look at blade tip centering, it's actually pretty bang on, even though it looks like it leans right.
Maybe it's bent.
Yeah, maybe it's bowed.
The whole
So,
the whole knife is just crooked like a moon shape.
but I want to get back to the main point, and I've fondly dubbed it the reach around clip. And yeah, I think it's fitting. I think it's fitting. It's
Yeah,
ambidextrous at least, so you can reach around both ways.
you
So
you totally you sure fucking can. Uh, God damn it. So I guess while we have this picture up here, the reason why I said I was going to bitch about this is because when you have a clip like this, and Sog has done it in the past too, so Kershaw's not the first offender, you have this tendency of thinner. What's that?
So I'm surprised it took this long for SOG clip to come up.
Yeah. Um, yeah. But as you put this into the pocket, if the pant material is thin enough, and this goes for some jean material too, you can actually have it ride up the side of the knife and come up under the clip, which means that when you try to go pull the knife, it actually lodges itself tightly up against the seam of that pocket. The thinner the pant material, the less likely I found this to happen, or
It's
pocket material. But
anti-tactical while trying to be uber tactical. I like
yeah. Theoretically, this would be a fairly easy fix. You just reduce the arc of that curve so that it comes down tighter towards the handle. This is something you might even be able to do yourself, but something that shouldn't have to be fixed out of box.
My PPT has a clip that comes across like that.
that is a lion steel that I happen to have handy.
Mm-hmm.
That is also kind of like a reach around, but it's like a tight hug of a reach around.
It's
Yeah.
that's a clap. That's a clip. That's a clip that's just gently holding the backside.
It's spooning ambidextrously.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah. I think that
support.
given that these are plastic backspacers that Kershaw is using, which I'm starting to care less about, but still kind of bothers me. I can see why they went for a liner integration. But that's just something you should keep in mind. If you're wearing thinner pants material, this is probably going to be fine. Thick work jeans, maybe yes, maybe no. Might require some light modification.
And I will say, with the glass reinforced nylon, you are dabbled on the steel liners because it is liner or holding in that Duralock kind of crossbar with the inner liners. The weight on both of these bad boys are almost bang on, 2.7 on the monitor and 2.8 on the Covalent.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have guessed that they were that close, to tell you the truth. I probably would have guessed that the Covalent was actually a little bit lighter, just because in hand it feels like you're not playing with much, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's good times. It's good times.
Yeah. I was gonna say when I thought it was G10 and plastic for opposing knives, the slight difference, I was like, oh, they got really close. Now that they are the same material, it kind of makes sense.
Makes more sense.
Well, and especially when you take into account blade thickness.
Yes, so that is one area where these two knives actually differ, considerably, I would say. So the Covalent measures in at a 2.7 millimeter on their on Kershaw's website, 0.107 inches. The monitor is listed as 2.3 millimeters or 0.09 inches. That's damn close to my Skaha. Like, it is very, very, very thin. Which is great to see. This is something that I think needs to be seen more often in the knife world, especially in more modern pocket knives at this size, but
absolutely. We're being asked in chat what the price point on these two bad boys is.
American, the monitor is going for, it was listed $89.99 down to $72 on Kershaw's website right now. That's American.
Okay.
And then down from 89 to 70. Yep, 72. So same price, actually.
So
on.
this actually leads me into one of my small points about this. They do actually have a Kershaw Canada website. So those of us to the north of the border, they do have these. Both of them are going for $139.49 CAD. So you can get that information directly from KershawCanada.com. Now, what you can't really get from KershawCanada.com is really specs on anything else. So
Mhm.
when you go to KershawCanada.com, they have their initial write up of each knife, and I believe that corresponds with the initial write up of every other knife. But there is no specification category, there's no drop down menu to look at specs. There's like you're shooting into the wind when you're trying to figure out blade lengths and weights and things like that type of thing, right? So good job, Kershaw Canada. Keep up the good work.
You would
Yeah.
think it would be an easy thing in the background to just port things over from one to the other.
I'm not entirely sure what the corporate structure is for Kershaw Canada versus Kershaw USA or Kai USA. So there might be a reason why they can't just pull that information, but
Don't know. Doesn't look that similar. Looks like it's actually a pretty independent website, other than being their distributor. Or I'm looking at a fake company. No, it's not.
Well, I hope it's not a fake company.
Well, might
Although
explain the lack of information that I'm trying to find on their website, and eventually gave up and went to Kai's website because that's where you're going to get what.
Oh, I was going to ask, what did you say they were going for on Kershaw Canada again? 140?
139.49.
139.49.
$139.49.
So this knife is a much better deal in the States, I would imagine, because conversion from that Canadian dollar value to American would be 102.97. So you are paying a bit of a premium if you're picking up that knife in Canada.
102, but good luck trying to get international shipping for less than like $20-25 anyway.
Yeah, so I hope that Kershaw Canada is able to get their poop in a
And if you go to certain websites like cuttingedgecutleryco.com, I'm pretty sure you have more competitive pricing than that straight conversion, which probably would not compare to international shipping after you convert it to polar bear dollars. So I'm just saying, there's ways.
100%.
Indeed.
I've been shameless plugging a lot mid interview or mid stream lately.
It's been good though. It's been good.
It's like I help run a company that sells this shit or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
So
here's a size comparison.
Irrelevant size comparisons. Of course. We've got the irrelevant size comparison. You can't forget.
Well, I totally forgot to grab pictures of these Kershaws next to any other Kershaws or anything like that. So this is the only other size comparison picture we have this week. I guess. Did you already said the blade length measurements on these guys, didn't you?
3.2 on the Covalent, 3-inch on the nose on the Monitor. Monitor. Is it a lizard? Is it a TV screen? What are we working with here, guys?
Kershaw doesn't have any idea. They don't talk about the name on the monitor for some reason.
They start calling it the Monitor. Half man, half other man. Well,
as much as I am, what's the term here? I don't dislike the write-up.
Terrible, Paul. You chuckled at your own fucking joke there. That was horrendous. Shut up. That was funny.
It was funny. If you could see what was in my head right now, you'd be giggling too.
Good Lord.
The Covalent's description on Kershaw USA talks about chemistry. They talk about it being undeniably irresistible. So they're talking about covalent bonds, probably, right?
The monitor packs a punch. It packs a punch, whatever it is. So is it like a lizard that's just like winding up?
No, they're talking about the comic book character, the Monitor. I don't know.
Is that just like a watcher?
No, the monitor's a bit different. I think he's like distinctly involved somehow with like cosmic whatever. It's been years since I've read anything DC related. Um,
What are you doing? I'm monitoring.
isn't that? You know what? No further questions.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So I went with lizard because the blade shape has got a little bit of this gecko lizardy looking face to it, and it's an easy way for me to remember what the name is when it was monitor lizard. So
we're just gonna stick with that.
yeah. Now, what I will say is, as ugly as a monitor lizard is the goddamn pivot collar or pivot thread, pivot screw. What is that? I don't know. It's a shelf. They put Elf on a shelf in the middle of this Kershaw knife.
You don't like the pivot?
What is it? I don't even know what they're trying to go for here. Like,
it's a Xanax
on the monitor specifically. It's
well, the Covalent I can like kind of get behind the triangle. It kind of seems like it matches the flow of the knife for some reason. I don't know, the geometric patterns and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like,
I actually kind of like that triangular shape. What I don't really like is how loosely it fits into the nylon, but it's injection molded nylon done at a fairly budget price. I can't get that bent out of shape.
I was going to say, at least it's a keyed pivot.
Yes.
On both.
Yeah. Cool. I'm cool with that. I just don't get it, man. It looks weird as hell.
I will say, between the two of them, and let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. I think I like the Covalent's pivot button a little bit more. Just a smidge. But I think that's just a personal preference thing. If that makes or breaks a sale for you, okay. You know what I think it is? It's because the Duralocks all have these triangular inset faces, and the pivot kind of mirrors that. So maybe that's why it works out. Because you don't see this shape that the monitor pivot has
on the other one. Yeah,
you don't see it anywhere else. So it just
doesn't make sense.
Out.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Anyway,
look. They picked it out of a book, and they were like, which knife should we put it on? This one. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
They were running out of shapes. They're like, what haven't we tried?
Well, you say picking it out of a book, but this is supposedly a Kershaw original.
Yeah.
Which
I'm sure there's a guy that just sits there and draws pivots all day. Has a catalog of them.
Yeah, there we go.
One guy whose job it is to draw blade shapes.
But I mean,
as you do,
they're just taking from other Kershaw originals and tweaking this and coming out with Covalent, which is like, a little bit dividend, a little bit blur without a recurve, a little bit, link without a drop point. Like it's just they're just like,
which I don't necessarily mind.
No, I can't wait till they come out with a premium Covalent.
Do we want to start talking about the Covalent specifically then, and maybe go over that a little bit more in depth?
I think that was mainly the knife I wanted to focus on. I mean, the monitor would.
I like how thin the blade is. It's going to be a slicey bitch, but
on the monitor.
Yeah.
And then, other than that, the action was not nearly what the Covalent's action was, type of thing. Not necessarily saying either were bad compared to a Benchmade specifically, but
have we touched on that yet?
No, we haven't.
I briefly made mention that Kershaw got it right the first 2 times. Benchmade has not gotten it right.
Hey once. Man, you leave Butch Ball alone.
I own that knife. For the record, I still like that knife, but the flipping action doesn't exist. These knives actually flip reliably, and they feel good to flip. The monitor, not as much as the Covalent, but still, both are serviceable.
And I think, and I've heard it repeatedly over and over again now, but I think one of the major issues with them in particular and the monitor, I guess, is out of the box. I've heard repeatedly that once you get tweaked, and we even experienced that on the monitor, is once you play around with it, you tweak the pivot a little bit, you find a decent action for it, they're not bad. But I've heard repeatedly that Kershaw's out of the box have been pretty inconsistent as far as their flipping action. And maybe that's just because they want to err on the side of caution coming to Polar Bear Town. and bringing up flippers with access locks that are a little too smooth, that type of thing. So
that was the question I was going to ask. Is that north of the border or south of the border or both?
I've actually heard on both ends. So I think they might just be doing it just a little extra something, maybe just directly from the factory. And then it doesn't matter where they're going, and everyone's just kind of playing the same game.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually.
Yeah, I think that's probably likely. Yeah. So, because these knives are both running on ball bearings, I think that's one of the reasons why Kershaw managed to make it work so well compared to a lot of Benchmade's attempts in the past.
I was going to say the biggest difference, for sure. The biggest difference between Benchmade's and Kershaw's,
You just don't have that same kind of resistance, yeah.
And ZT and Kershaw have done really well with their KVT system. Has been better than a lot of other systems that have tried to do a bearing system, right? So I will give them credit on that, is that they're using a pretty streamlined bearing system to add to the package.
As it is, as it were.
Package.
We dabbled on briefly on pocket, clip, and threaded into plastic and liners, but we didn't dabble on a potential issue of mix matching screws. Which
yes. Yes.
They're apparently the body screws on this knife are slightly shorter than the pocket clip screws are.
Which, when you think about it, kind of makes a little bit of sense.
You bet. But if you're taking apart this knife and disassembling this knife, and you get 6 or 8 T6 screws that are all relatively the same size, and you end up, putting a pocket clip screw into a barrel spacer, all of a sudden your barrel spacer screw doesn't have enough threads to reach through the plastic into a steel liner to catch. So just a heads up, make sure that whichever the pocket clip screw is, you're just keeping those separate upon disassembly compared to your barrel spacer screws.
This is another reason to have a system for when you're disassembling knives, so you can keep track of your screws, know where to go.
Don't tell me what to do, Joe.
You do whatever you want with your knives, but you might benefit if you just take your goddamn time.
Sometimes
pull a magnet and separate them as you take them out.
A magnet sweeping through the carpet goes a long way. I'm just saying.
We've all played that game at least once, all right?
Yeah, I don't like playing it.
I win every time, though, so...
There's been a couple times where it's like, I don't know if I feel like playing anymore. I might just forfeit.
You win, carpet.
To the nether with you. Yeah.
All right. So dabbling on that, I figured that was a side point that was worth mentioning.
That's a good one to bring up.
Absolutely.
What else we got?
Kershaw's treatment of D2 is generally speaking pretty good. I think people
are they open about what their heat treatment is on D2? They should be. They're open on everything else.
I don't know if they actually specify on the website. They don't list it on the actual knife listing, so I don't know. CRKT has a page on their website where they list all the different materials and hardnesses and yada yada. I don't think Kershaw has done something like that yet.
They do have, so D2's running 59 to 60. Okay. If you go to their learn section, they've got blade steels and they've got them what they're all running at, and they've got MagnaCut already on there, 60 to 62. Perfect. So whatever they're planning for Kershaw and ZT.
Okay. That 60. They're automatic. Remember the stiletto? Yeah, it's MagnaCut.
Oh, I thought it was 20 CV.
Yeah, cool. They're putting ease of sharpening at a 2, but they also put 20 CV at a 2. So,
given who Kershaw normally sells their knives to, like on the broad spectrum, that kind of makes sense. The guys who are used to sharpening 8CR are not going to have a nice time trying to sharpen D2, let alone MagnaCut.
Yeah, but it's funny to think about.
I've seen the results of them attempting to do such things, and it makes me sad. So I don't know about fun. But that's good to know that Kershaw has that. Is it just under? Oh, there's the. Oh, isn't that nice? So Kershaw, yeah, you're totally right. Kershaw did do that. KershawKiosa.com/blade-steels.
Well, I know it came
Very
up
nice.
when we were talking about
I must
their
have totally
M4
forgotten.
and the M4 debacle
Oh.
about like this is too easy to sharpen, and then we looked it up, and it's because their M4 is softer than other people's, and they were like, oh, that's why it's too easy to sharpen. They just tell you. Like,
I was gonna say, I don't know if they. Oh, they don't have M4 listed on the page anymore. Weird.
it's not an active steel, so
I guess
Sure.
not. No, it really. Well,
The
for
456 is M4.
what's that?
Their new 456 is M4.
That's a sprint run exclusive. It's already come and gone.
Touche.
it already doesn't exist.
Yeah, apparently.
Stop talking about it, Paul.
All right.
Yeah, Paul. Everybody else gets to talk about it, but you, no.
Nah.
Go to hell, man. Go to hell.
That
How do
being
you guys
said,
feel about the 59 to 60?
59 to 60, honestly, I'm kind of impressed that they're that accurate. The fact that they're willing to give a 2-point total spread. Or
Now,
no, I guess that's a 1-point spread, isn't it? Yeah.
Based off of information that we've learned recently, is that uncoated at a 60 and coated at a 59?
Probably not. Honestly,
No?
Probably not. They're probably heat treating them all the same, because again, Kershaw's target market, and this means that their heat treatment is less complicated that way. They can do larger batches without trying to hit 2 separate Rockwell levels.
That's
At least in my mind, that makes sense.
I don't disagree with you. It's just surprising with how much we've seen recently of a 1-point spread from coated to non-coated.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe it is maybe it does shift to 58, 59 when it's black coated or black washed or whatever else.
Maybe it's like 58.6, so they count it as a 59.
Interesting. Interesting.
Rounding up.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that about the over 62, as if they cook it a little bit, you get up to the 60.5, 60.4,
Yeah. That's interesting. Their D2 only has a 1-point spread, but there's a 2-point spread on the 14C20 then. Anyway, okay, that's getting into the weeds.
That's almost relevant to the knife review we're doing. Jesus Christ.
I was just going to say, too far.
We've gone too far. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, jumping back to handle material, not so much actually the material itself, but the shape. The Covalent is actually pretty heavily contoured top and bottom. So it feels fantastic in the hand as far as its shape is concerned. I don't think... No, I didn't manage to grab a photo of that. Too bad.
I've got both in-hand photos. That's the first.
Perfect.
And standard kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so there's the Covalent in hand. This is one of the things I bitch about most of all when it comes to 3D, like injection molded handles. It's like you should be taking advantage of the fact that it's injection molded. You could make it so many different complicated shapes, and yes, the molds are slightly more expensive to make, but you end up with more interesting and more comfortable output. This is a great example of that. Having a slightly curved handle the way this is, it feels better than the monitor, which is mostly flat.
Yeah.
What kind of annoys me is they could have done the monitor handle also slightly curved, but still with that kind of milled, stippled texture, and it would have been like really cool to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It takes such a small amount of contouring to vastly improve a handle that it's a shame that more people aren't doing it.
Like Cold Steel, I mean, I know the Tie-Light's a really old example. Damn, it's getting dark in here, but heavy contouring. Very heavy contouring on that handle, and it's when you're actually holding it like, oh wow, that's actually comfortable, very comfortable in a variety of grips. It's not. This is not nearly as comfortable. My Voking, the Chris Tie-Light, of course.
Yeah.
I got the 6-inch somewhere around here, but the But the 4-inch
There-
Chris is way more fun.
The ergonomic execution is a 9. Come on.
Yeah.
Understands their customers at the very least, because I own 3 4-inch tie lights,
Yeah, same. It's not great. It's not a great
hook,
look.
line, and sinker.
Yep. And to be fair,
Terrible.
if you're doing enough else with the handle, I don't mind it being flat. But when you're gonna do this injection molded stuff, I feel like you should be pushing it. The Covalent does it. This is one of the other Duralock knives is the Iridium. That one also has pretty heavily contoured handles, and it's like, sweet, okay, at least you did it with 2 of the models for sure. I'll also, I guess I'll throw up the monitor while we're here too. I know we're focusing on the Covalent, but here's the size in Dennis's hand.
So funny that they're that small of a difference, but I did feel like the back end of the monitor wasn't quite filling out my hand as much as the Covalent.
You can
Like
see
for
it.
the 0.1 or the 0.2, like I said, it's actually shocking that I did an open hand kind of grip for the monitor, whereas I did a closed hand on the Covalent because I just felt like it just filled out the hand that much more.
Well, and not only is it shorter, but it also tapers at that butt end.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it for sure. Is the fact that it does taper back there, that it doesn't feel like it fills out your hand quite as much. You know, a little bit of a skinny noodle, not like you're Voking or a CEO.
No.
Them noodles are skinny, but
These are kind of ridiculous.
yeah, that's some spaghettini going on there.
I find. Thanks. Never mind. I had a comment. I'm not going to make it. I really like stick handles like this when they are extremely simple. But when you have a lot of curvature like that, when you go from wide to skinny, it feels weird. Or at least it can feel weird if you're not conscious of it in the design.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure if you have a slightly smaller hand, this feels really good. But
yeah,
with even a medium-sized hand, you lose a little bit on the back end, as we were saying.
as you do.
As one does.
Dabble on lanyards. How do we feel about lanyard holes? I think they actually did a pretty decent job hiding them amongst. They didn't make it awkward and stand outy.
Yeah.
So I'll actually give them credit for that. It's
The shape of them fits the shape of the knives too. Which
yeah.
nice.
I mean,
It's
they
the round
probably
hole.
could have changed the butt end on that monitor a little bit. Oh my God, Joe is getting abducted all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to help the situation. I don't think
He's a
this
ghost.
is helping.
Boom.
I don't think this is any better. Okay, well, whatever. I'll stop messing with it.
Joe is now zombie Joe. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine. Yeah. So
It's too much. It's too much. I'll have a better setup at some point, but
yeah, I think if they were to focus more on just rounding out the handle on that monitor instead of including that weird little step on the lanyard, it's probably better off. But
I think I had a
little
couple.
shout out to Lemmy Hangslong in chat. What is up?
Hello.
Better late than ever. Absolutely.
thanks for joining us. What are you
What are you
carrying?
carrying?
What are you carrying? Yeah,
Here's the
lanyard on the Covalent, not nearly as bad, I find.
Yeah, here's a close up of the spine with the lanyard hole on the Covalent.
Okay.
See, at least the injection molded backspacers, they look kind of cool.
Well-
They're gonna catch all kinds of crap in there, but at least they look cool.
They are doing some interesting things with backspacers this year. This is not the craziest thing I've seen, but
This is a lot.
I appreciate the effort, but I also don't mind that. Where it's just nice and smooth.
so I don't know if I got enough of a shot on the inside of the handle to show off the fact that you can actually see the steel tubes on the Covalent. I don't think I did.
No, you have a picture of it closed but not open, so I don't think we'll be able to see it past the
Yeah.
blade.
So if you look on the inside of the handle in the Covalent, you can actually see the steel tubes that the 2 barrel spacer screws fit into. Yeah, and that's not going to show a shit.
No.
And that's a better picture for sure. Yeah. So, but the big thing with that is like these black like standoff things that they've put through there. Like, is that actually one piece of plastic? I think it is seamed, but it almost feels like that should be a plastic shell around the steel tube, and the steel tube should not be exposed on the inside of the handle in this like 3/4 cup thing where you can see the tubey on the inside.
I mean, it may be shelved, but as long as the hole in the spacer is tight to the barrel,
if
it should be okay.
If it's Kershaw or CRKT that's done this in the past where we've commented on it and been like, you were like pushing limits of how much room you had.
Yeah, I know I've got a Boker Excalibur. Rook tried to cheat those corners. Yes, this knife is also trying to cheat those corners. And I think with that much of a like molded plastic backspacer, you don't have to cheat those. Like just mold it all the way around the tube and just like, or make those little black things independent piece that the tube just goes through.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's, so.
We're being asked if the handles are pretty stiff.
Yes.
And they are. I don't know if I would describe this knife as taking a good beating just because of the blade thickness, but
okay.
I would say tougher than a bug out as far as handle goes, as far as flex goes, because it's got the steel liners, much more rigid.
Yeah. Realistically speaking, if you're talking about accidental, it gets tossed onto the ground from on top of work ladder, it gets sat on, stepped on, it's probably going to be fine, honestly, as far as the handle's concerned.
Did you hear that, Paul? I should be throwing my knife from the work ladder more often.
Yeah.
Oh, did you do that the other day? What knife did you do that with?
No, you just said if you're on the work ladder.
Look, I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying it would be fine. It's just a pretty decent chance of most of it surviving. GFN
there's been a serious lack of that in the workplace, and we can solve that. It's
all right.
Can I share a controversial opinion?
No. Okay, go for it.
Neither one of these knives need a lanyard hole, even though they are decently placed and follow the lines of the knife and everything else. With this style of clip,
call it what it is. Call it what it is, Paul. Just call it what it is.
Saw clip. Is that?
You're an asshole. The reach around clip. Come on.
Oh, the reach around. I see. With the reach around clip,
reach around so good it gets you stuck in the pocket.
If you're lanyard inclined, you can just tie it to that clip and it would solve both problems at once.
It would actually solve. So this is what's going to convert Joe to being a lanyard guy, is in a world where all clips give you the reach around.
Yeah.
That's fucking horrible, both of you. Thank you for that.
Joe now becomes a lanyard guy.
I'm just saying, it's a place to put a lanyard and it stops your pocket from biting the...
Chris Reeve will actually have a reason for putting one on his finally. Like it's
There you go.
So I gotta say, as far as lanyard holes go, the Covalence is not bad. But there's a specific reason for it in this particular case. If you look at the shape of that hole, and you look at the shape of all the other little textured sections in that handle, it kind of looks like it fits. It matches the design of the rest of the handle, and that makes me happy. It's not just a hole.
I can't.
Not the weird step that it is on the monitor lizard.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul. What was that?
I said I can't comment on weird shapes in a knife handle.
Well, that's perfect.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah. Someone's choice. Somebody made a choice.
I will say with the Covalent, I do like the fact that because you have all these separate sections, it gives you the opportunity to modify it, make it your own. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We all know a guy that may or may not have done some airbrushing and did a sweet fade from one side to the other. And UV reactive paint.
Actually came out looking pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's not often that you get to modify FRN handles like this and not absolutely just ruin them. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, you can do some interesting stuff.
So yeah. Something that I'll dabble on, and I think no one cared because these were access locks that held them in place. Do these things have detents, or is it just access locks?
It's just access. There's no secondary mechanical detent.
I think if you just squeeze an access lock, you get the clacky clacky like you do on a Griptilian, right? Like it's the
Yep.
same idea behind it.
Yeah, you can. You can, yes.
Okay, so with that in mind, you don't necessarily had to load this knife up. Now, thankfully, it is butter smooth and it rolls out with the KVT and the access lock and the whole 9 yards, right? But I don't think anyone gave a shit about what the jimping on the flippers were like in the slightest on these two knives because they're just going to slap open no matter what.
Yeah.
So not only are these knives giving you the reach around, they also got the slick flipper. And I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it was a little bit of a slick flipper.
I've not slipped on that flipper, so
I haven't misslipped. I've just noticed that there's no load up, there's no texture because there's no detent. It doesn't grab and snap and pop type of thing. And I have noticed that it's like there's not much keeping you on that.
In terms of
that
jimping,
flipper tab,
there's pretty decent jimping on those flipper tabs.
It's okay, but I don't think anyone turned around and said, "Hey, we can do better. Hey, should we look a second time?" Blah blah blah. I've noticed that they're kind of.
I think it's actually where it needs to be. Honestly, you can kind of see in this picture. You do have a bit of a broader stretch towards the very end of that flipper where there isn't as much texturing, but that's fairly common with a lot of flippers. It works, both light switch and kind of push buttoning on the Covalent, at least from what I recall. It both work.
And I'm not even saying the action is bad. I just think that when I looked at it, I was just like, it just doesn't like. It doesn't seat your finger like it does on today's modern flippers when you're grabbing stuff and it like hooks you in place that you're ready to let it go. Neither one of these knives do that.
That might be because too there is no. Sorry, I keep interrupting, Paul. Go ahead.
No worries. Just that if there was no jimping, you would absolutely notice that. The difference between some jimping and no jimping is such a wide gap that.
Well, no, there's no gap. There's no with the lack of jimping.
Whatever. I was gonna say, in the case of my Skaha, for instance, and in the case of actually the Buck, what's the one we got on the shelf? The Sprint, the Spirit.
We touched on this earlier, but CJLA is asking if Benchmade's ever made an access lock flipper, and they've attempted it.
Okay, not a good one that wasn't
currently they've got an Amicus and a Vector that are both spring assist to make up for the fact that they're not that great.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had a precinct and they had a Butch Ball flipper 300.
Yes. If you want a good flipper from Benchmade, buy a Tengu.
Actually, yeah. The flipping action on that was pretty good. The rest
of
the knife was a
call out a knife you can't get anymore.
You can hunt.
So buy a Covalent instead. You see what I did there, Dennis? You see?
Because I'm sure Jared Ogier loves that comparison.
Fucking lives for it, man.
He's not watching us. I hope.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just
turns
one
off
final mention
the YouTube.
on the. He's like, I'm done for the night.
Yeah.
One final mention from me about the jimping. If this knife with a very heavy detent had, which is getting real dark in here, the Skaha 2, if it had no jimping on the flipper, it would still work just as good as it does because of its shape. I think because there's no real mechanical detent, it's just resistance from the Duralock, from the crossbar lock on the Covalent. Yeah. I think they had to give it some texture in order for it to feel even somewhat natural. I think it was well considered. But I did find that you could have a disappointing misflip on the monitor more often than I could with the Covalent. The Covalent was pretty consistently good. The monitor, I had a couple of times I would try to open it and it would just misflip, like not go all the way. It felt a little weak sauce.
And again, with that lack of action we dabbled on earlier, plus the slick flipper that it's made for a combination of. If I were to bitch about one thing, Now,
flipper.
I think Paul was going to mention, and I don't know if you actually dabbled on it, is the fact with the lack of detent that really, if you hit that flipper, she's moving.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is
So whether it's got a jimp, a 3 jimp, a 7 jimp, a no jimp, just
any
don't touch.
kind of jump will
Yeah.
keep you on the flipper enough to get it open. Is what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
No jump sucks, but even the barest hint of a jump is all one needs.
The ghost of the jimp.
Yeah.
But the other thing that everyone has been kind of dabbling on with the Covalent in particular is the action that it gets from the kick.
Yes.
When you open it, right? And they're talking about it being kicky. Now, other people that might own a Demco have noticed that same kicky action. And anything that has kind of a slidey barry lock that comes into play with the tang of the knife might have a kicky action. And there's some knives that probably predated all of them with kicky actions if you knew about them, right? Like it's, yeah. So
there were a couple few, you know.
But that seems to be a lot of the hype with, and the Covalent doesn't have as much kicky. Or not the Covalent, sorry, the monitor. Sorry.
There's I didn't get a close up.
The Covalent opens up pretty easily if you have it at just the right angle and pop that crossbar.
It's pretty reasonable, yeah. Don't have a closed picture of.
I'm gonna start calling it the Cross Durabar.
The Dura crossbar.
Yeah.
And is it the Aegis or the Tridents that kick there, Lemmy? Just out of curiosity, as far as which SOGs kick, I think there's a couple of them. Maybe even the XR. The XR is a pretty nice SOG, I got to admit. But
and I have seen some discussion online about whether this makes the knife a quote-unquote like gravity knife or anything like that. As far as I understand, and we're not lawyers, but as far as I understand, in Canada at least, may vary in your state, if you're stateside watching this, it's totally fine because you are manually moving the blade into an open position. So as far as I understand, you're okay. But I know certain states have interesting interpretations of certain laws. So, you know, do your research.
Don't tell me what to do, Joe.
No, you do your research, Dennis. Because I know you'll do it.
So, yeah, I think that pretty much sums up everything I got to bitch about.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't think of anything offhand that we haven't covered. I'll just quickly tab through these photos and see what we got.
I say bitch about, but I mean, realistically speaking, it's Kershaw did not a bad job with an access lock and a flipper. So
kick the shit out of a lot of Benchmade offerings as far as flipping action, that's for sure. And don't get me wrong, I like Benchmade. I like their products, but they did a couple of things real nice here. If it were up to me, Covalent, I think that's been pretty obvious from all of us. I think we all kind of like the Covalent a little bit more. I think Paul and I might feel the same way about wishing we had the thin blade stock on the Covalent as well as the monitor, but
2.7 is pretty ridiculous. Like
it's already pretty decent.
But even when you say that as well, like blade depth comes into play, and the Covalent actually does have a wider blade to have a nicer taper, slicey.
You do actually come down to a pretty good edge on that Covalent.
One might even say bug out style grind.
But yeah, maybe. So would you think that this is a viable alternative to a bug out?
I think it's kind of trying to compete.
I think
the Iridium is also kind of throwing that out there as far as trying to compete, maybe with a bailout with an aluminum handle, or even the aluminum handled bug out. So
I don't think they're a terrible option if you want one of them bug outs, but you don't have the funds for said things.
But yeah, I was going to say, I think they did a decent job trying to kind of throw it out there. I didn't really think about it until right now, but this also is very reminiscent of a slightly less pot-bellied knockout. And I hadn't really looked at it until we were talking about it right now. But if you look at the blade shape and you just skinnied out a knockout blade, that is pretty damn close. And they don't make a knockout anymore. So what I'm saying is they should turn this into the new knockout and do an LMAX version like they used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
LMAX is making a comeback. Come on.
Well, what do you mean people figured out how to heat treat it correctly, and now people are realizing that other people know how to heat treat it correctly? Don't worry about it.
Well,
I think you said it all.
ZT definitely didn't ruin an entire nation's perspective on a blade steel. Anyway, not their fault.
Not everyone.
Well, that vast majority, though. I mean, come on. But I would like to see more LMAX as well. I wonder if LMAX will ever become a budgety option, like the way that 154 CM is now.
You shut your whore mouth.
You don't want LMAX to become more available?
Well, it might, but probably not in my lifetime. It's yeah.
I was just agreeing with the whore mouth comment, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah.
Well, thanks, sure. Paul. I appreciate your input.
No, thank you, Joe.
Thank you and your whore mouth. Oh, Christ.
Oh, sorry, Joe.
Why the hell are you guys talking about anthems? I'm just looking at the chat.
They haven't put anything good out since the anthem, is the comment that got read for Benchmade.
They haven't put anything out as good as the anthem since the anthem's come out. I'll agree with that. But they've had
come on, man. They've
had some decent knives.
That narrows.
I haven't played with it yet. I can't say shit.
I can't say shit either, but there's no way. I've already seen the knife. It's so.
It is a great knife.
Unless you can make the narrows look different, and I'm already out.
Oof.
It is no anthem, that's for sure.
That's totally true.
So scourge.
Okay, I got a score for it.
Okay.
All right. For both of them, or just one?
Just got to rethink.
Mostly for the Covalent, but the monitor can watch.
Oh, I see.
No, that's it. That's your rating.
He's the watcher.
I was going to give it 2 H's and 1 O.
Oh.
Any particular reason?
Covalent bonds. It felt appropriate.
Yeah. Hence the heavy sigh. Yeah.
And I was going to make a joke about it making me wet, but decided against it. You're welcome.
Oh.
I think I actually murdered Joe.
Yeah. Telecommunications murder.
Well,
so I derailed our conversation pretty well there.
So I'm gonna rank it 1 poisonous bite of septicemia that you live through.
You're a weird fucking guy, you know that?
Well, you learned some things. And you moved on.
It doesn't sound like you moved on, but all right.
I was gonna try to twist Paul into that one and say that it's a bite that Paul lived through, but that was mainly after the bad Bond joke from earlier.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, neither do I. So I'll just.
I feel like I have septicemia.
Oh, you'll know when you have septicemia.
I guess this is a rating that could apply to both of them, so let me modify it slightly. The Covalent, I choose to give 6 out of 7 potential body screws. The monitor gets 5.5.
All right.
That's the rating. Because don't forget about your pocket clips if you swap them over, because you're gonna have a bad time.
I do appreciate the votes that are going on in chat right now as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with them, but I do find them amusing.
Good times. Joe is just turning to.
Oh, holy crap! It went very dark. I'm turning my light back on. This is ridiculous.
The sun has gone down.
I apologize for the strobing of my fan, but the
Do
alternative
you not
is
have chains for your?
no, it's a remotes for some reason.
I was trying to remember what the hell that movie was where you could just see the dead people through cameras.
That was a very excellent video game, but I do not remember the movie.
There was several movies. Anyway, continue on. Yeah. I think Kershaw could do better. Oh, I didn't also dabble on the fact that these are Chinese made with American made prices, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, honestly, well, okay, American prices for us, yeah. Well, unless you know
the $82 or 80 odd dollars in the US that they're worth. It's a pretty good deal. Kind of sucks north of the border.
A little bit, yeah. Do I wish that Kershaw had come out with some American Duralock options with excellent flippers and perhaps some of their sexy anodized aluminum? Yeah, I kind of, especially with a, oh, what the hell do they call them? Their combination blades that they braze together.
You could have made a
Composite
ZT
blades,
and made a direct composite.
Dude, I don't even give a shit if it's ZT at this point. We already know that ship's long fucking sailed.
I'm just saying. It would have been a direct competitor against a bug out if...
Yeah, they could have done it. They could push it into a titanium territory, really do some nice work with it.
And I mean, if you were really struggling for resources, hell, you could make Hogue make it for you. So.
But you got to charge an extra $150 in order for it to make any fucking
bitches.
sense.
$240.
Fucking brutal. Anyway, we'll talk about those another time, maybe. But yeah, no, having these made in the States with better materials. Okay, you know what? Aluminum handles, 14C Sandvik would have been cool. Would have been cool. They could do it. Maybe this is their way of testing the waters to see what the response is.
That was about what I was about to say. Yeah, a lot of boats on that one. Yeah,
that's right.
Anyway.
That's what are you talking about?
I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, they might be testing the waters for some more premium options, whether it's ZT, whether it's Kershaw, America.
It's American.
So yeah, sums it up. I had a weak sauce score for this week, just for the record.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that score to the barbecue contest, that's for sure.
Terrible.
You'd get sick.
You sure would.
I think I already am a little bit.
I threw up a little in my mouth as you were talking there.
Oh, yeah.
Too real.
All right, gentlemen. Anything else we want to dabble on?
On these?
No, just in general. I think we're done with this shit.
Yeah, let's get rid of it.
I have a small thing.
I have one small thing.
Fuck you, Joe.
God, you expect me to not laugh? I'm a child, sir.
It was perfect. It's,
what am I looking up here, guys?
I did send you one small photograph.
Yes, you did. That was the second pic in that email you sent, right?
Yeah.
Let me pull that up. I didn't peek. Didn't know if that was necessary or not. But,
I want you guys' opinion.
Oh,
use guys.
Okay.
Yeah. I need you guys' opinion.
So it's up there. What do you want our opinion on?
So the holes fit. The holes match enough that I could probably screw this thing down to my 671. But I do need to modify this clip to actually get it to seat within the its pocket there.
Oh,
And I'm saying,
I
is it
see.
worth modifying this to fit that pocket that it's not really going to fit anyways, or just save this and put it on a Elementum when I buy it?
I'm going to say that if you modify this clip before you finish your Anthem clip, Fisk will seriously unfriend. Like, he won't talk to you anymore, dude. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
It's less work.
It's less work.
You say that, but
It was like a
refinishing,
bitch answer. I mean, and that's what he'd say.
refinishing the sides of that clip would be a pain in the ass unless you were gonna re-bead blast the whole thing. So I'd
Trap one to
say,
stonewash it.
I guess I wouldn't. I would save it for the Elementum.
Yeah.
Or just something else that comes along that matches better.
Yeah, because honestly, that gap at the back, at the top end of that clip there, that would piss me off.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could make it fit onto a Sage 1 so I could have your Rips Garage Tech, you son of a bitch. But anyway, it's, yeah.
No, that's going on a different night. Might go on a Skaha. I'm pretty sure it'll fit.
We'll see. We'll see. You might have to mill that one out too. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
That's not what a good time sounds like to me, for the record, but
it's fine.
So this is your little thing? Yeah.
That was the extent of my little thing, yeah.
I think you
more.
should not. You should not modify it, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I was kind of sitting on the whole conversation, and I'm glad that you guys agree.
Yeah, don't make Fisk angry is basic.
You wouldn't like him when he's angry?
The other side of that, yeah.
Well, the other side of that is it would be something that's simple that would maybe make me a little more confident about mucking with this Anthem clip again.
Just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah, it's getting nice enough outside. I probably will be getting that done in the next 3 to 4 years.
I was just going to say, you're running out of excuses, so you have to start making up some new ones.
Yeah.
I've been there. It's not fun.
So I got a small thing, but I don't even know if I can find a picture of it. I've been trying to. Paul, such face.
Oh, I'm trying not to die.
I've kind of been trying to find a picture of it, but
okay.
It's so small. No, one might say it's even wee. It's about wee knives.
Is it nothing on their website? I'm guessing, huh?
No. What's that?
So is it a quark?
It might be a quark. What the fuck is a quark?
It's a yeah.
No, it's not a quark. You're stupid. Shut up.
So rude.
It's my flight safe knife. What are you talking about?
I don't know if I have it saved. I was trying to find it, couldn't find it. They might have taken it down. Is Wee Knives making a GTC?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
we haven't talked about that shit yet.
Okay,
someone find a picture.
I've only
GTC integral.
I've only seen it on in video format. I don't know if they have it on like their Instagram.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And after many scrolling, because we're actually talking about it now, so I tried to find a picture. But yes.
So, okay, they have Wee Knives USA, Wee Knives, and Wee Knife Fan Photos. For a while there, Wee Knife Fan Photos was the account that they were using. What is the account that they're using now?
Wee Knives.
Okay, so they're back to their original account. They got it unhacked or whatever.
Correct.
And
Okay.
dehacked.
Cool.
And I think I can send this to you.
If you could, that'd be cool. Otherwise,
I got a
how far
screenshot
far
of the
down is it?
video that actually shows up pretty good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you can send that, I
So,
can pop that up. Right away.
anyway, yeah, integral. And maybe MagnaCut because everyone's horny on MagnaCut, so they might have done an integral with MagnaCut and GTC. That sounds like something that they would do because they're assholes.
I would buy it because I've wanted a GTC design for a while now, and I'm a sucker for things that are stupid.
But would you like
And
750
integrals?
American want it? 600 American want it? I don't know. It's not going to be cheap. This some bitch.
No, because I'd have to sell a few more things out of my collection, and I'm running out of stuff to sell that I wouldn't
Like
miss.
that Arrakis is going for 6 nowadays.
Yeah, that's a bit fucked. I mean,
They're both
Okay.
integrals.
okay, there's a ton of work that goes into them both. It's not really that fucked. It's just
Yeah, I know, but the price point is fucked.
that's that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
It's a knife.
Okay, you know what? I'll do the same thing that I'm going to do for the SNEX and wait for Civivi to come out with their version because I'm poor.
I see.
Yeah, because that Vision R, I don't know if you guys knew, but there's you two knew that Civivi is they've got a couple prototypes floating around of the Vision. I don't know if it's still called the Vision R because it's not the same design overall, but it's the same locking mechanism. But the
What's a
pocket
normal
clip.
pocket clip?
Did you get shit? You should have got it.
No, I'm still. That's why I was stalling. I haven't seen it turn up yet.
I see. All
Um,
right. Still
Yeah.
not. That's a crying shame.
Yeah.
Should have come through.
Everyone is doing what Joe is doing. There is no justification. What?
what's up?
Don't buy anything. That's what he said.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the fuck he's on about.
Everyone is doing what Joe is doing. There's no justification.
Oh, just
talking
don't
about
buy anything.
not
No,
buying
instead of
anything?
buying fancy copies and waiting for cheaper ones to come out. You don't have to justify it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I don't necessarily need MagnaCut. I just want stupid flippers, man. I want weird mechanisms. Why do you think I keep buying CRKTs?
Shame.
No. That's what results. And there's Dennis's photo.
That's a disease. That's a disease, sir. It's
Shame is a disease.
no buying CRKTs.
Oh, I see now. This
Do you,
fucking
though?
guy. Yes, unfortunately.
There's group meetings for that type of shit, Joe. Like seriously.
I refuse. Anyway, here's a picture of a Wii
Self-harm.
GTC.
Self-harm is a real thing.
Yeah, so here's a picture.
That's a picture.
It's
Somewhat of a picture.
There you go. Why does it have the lock bar cut out on both sides of the knife? when there's not
Because
a lock?
they're good. They're good. That is what you should do. I love it. Dude, it's an integral that's completely symmetrical from one side to the other, except for the lock bar cutout. That's fucking hot. I'm not gonna lie. That was actually one of my favorite features on the Mini Buster from Wii as well. They have lock bar cutouts on both sides of the handle on that knife. And it's like, you just had to make it symmetrical. It's great. But this one has it on the outside. That's extra weird.
Wait. Back that
The
up.
Buster has it.
The Mini Buster has lock bar cutouts on the inside of the offside handle.
Yes.
Huh. All right.
I'm gonna see if I can quickly find a photo of it because that is hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest. I
Um,
kind of want that GTC for 2 different collections.
I don't know if we're gonna find a photo at the right angle. If I remember, I will take a picture next time I'm at
I
work.
was just gonna look at it tomorrow.
Oh,
It's fine.
there we go. Oh no, but I want to show people here too.
There's a one picture there that's you can see the blade sitting. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you can see it right there. That little extra bit of black. Yeah, they cut out both sides on the inside. When you're looking down at it, it looks quite a bit better.
Yeah, they sure
Mhm.
did.
But the GTC has the cutout on the outside too because they just mirrored the entire design from one side to the other and didn't worry about it.
Just buy the Airborne. Probably not. I don't know what that is, but probably not.
It's enough money. It's some
I
of the
just
dollar reduce.
I just assume if it's a CPM recommendation, it's $35,000, and
May as well be, right? I mean,
yeah,
no offense, dude, but yeah, my
you can
pockets
only
ain't,
buy it
ain't
if you
that deep.
personally go to the moon.
Just to show you guys the action on that video.
Oh, we're going to hell. Gonna get sued by we. That's it.
Yeah, this is how it happens. Yeah, look at us promoting their products. Sue us.
Fancy stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool as hell.
Okay, apparently this is the Airborne from GTC, I guess. But
Okay.
no, I don't have GTC money. I have barely Wii Knife GTC money.
If I had GTC money, I'd be buying just straight up customs.
Yeah.
And I don't generally consider GTCs customs, but there's been a couple models. Anyway. Yeah, that's a really cool aside. Does anybody have any idea when these are coming out?
No. That video you watched was a month ago, something like that.
Yeah. What was this one called again? I forget, Joe. We looked it up at one point, and it confused the fuck out of us.
It says it in the video.
It's the SLT, apparently, according to the.
No, that's the SLT is the flippy system that snaps it out.
The first knife wielded designed by the talented cut. I don't know.
It's called the Airborne. CPM is saying, but I don't know if the Wii version is called the Airborne.
It was called. They had the term solid on the tag in many videos. Yeah, but I'm confused because on the Instagram post here, I don't know whether they would have. Yeah, they did edit it. It says the first Wii knife SLT designed by the talented custom knife maker GTC Knives. So unless they're saying that there's going to be a series of SLT knives, I don't know.
No, SLT is the flippery system that with the zero tolerance one had as well. So does the GTC, where it's the loaded up trigger that snaps out. That's called an SLT system. So this is the first Wii knife that has the SLT system. Good Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. It might just be the GTC solid. I know they also often call any of their integrals a solid.
And CPM is clarifying the SLT is a spring-loaded tab.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Which is not nearly as cool sounding as SLT, because that just sounds like you got a slippy flipper.
Look, it's a spring-loaded tab.
Look at here, Mr.
Tab, it's there.
Mr. Slippy Trigger Flipper.
If only we knew one of our members had a version of an SLT that they could demonstrate what that was.
I mean, it's all the way over there.
I thought you were just waiting to whip it out. I didn't realize you hadn't gotten it. Damn.
No. I don't know which pouch it's in. They all look the same.
Yeah, I recently reorganized all my knife pouches because I couldn't find where stuff was. I'm like, all right, time to redo this whole thing again.
And I didn't know CPM if GTC knives. There's the SLT system right there. Big amount. I wasn't sure if GTC knives was just the Gustavo dude or if it was like a Grimsmo situation, Chris Reeve situation where there was a dozen dudes working under the one label name. I did not know it was just one dude hand making from scratch. So yeah,
I don't know if he's hand making or if they're CNC or not.
Well, apparently CPM is just saying there's no them. It's just one dude.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So it's kind of like a Holt, or Brown knives back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it back. Customs. Whatever. I don't know. So some guys get really upset when you call like full CNC made knives custom knives.
Yeah, they're wrong.
They're not handmade, but hard to not call them customs if they're one-offs.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
So,
but yeah.
Anyhow, don't semantics aside.
Yeah. So yeah. Another cool thing. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good time.
That's cool. Is it worth selling my Vero for? Somehow, I don't think so, but
it's gonna have some dollary dues attached to it, but yeah, we may or may not have some of those sitting on the shelf when they get released. We'll see. We'll see.
If not, I'll bring one in myself because I will probably want to buy it.
No, they'll be sitting on the shelf if we can get them. That's for sure. So, anyway, having said that, we're rounding out. We should call her a night, gentlemen.
I think so. Just about that time.
Okay, so apparently Gustavo makes his own Damascus and Timascus. The integrals are milled by hand, full custom for sure. It's not a CNC.
Very cool.
Yeah.
If you're not forging your handles, if you're milling them out, you're cheating. Not. Sorry, there's always there's always some kind of reductionist argument out there. For the record, I like handmade stuff. I like CNC stuff. I just like stuff.
I just like stuff. Can you send me stuff?
Give me stuff.
Give me some stuff. So, yeah, once again, we want to thank the Cutting Edge Cutlery Co. for bringing in some new 2023 models. Get to play with some Duralock Cross-Borean action. That word's going to get more and more twisted as the year goes on just because it's fun. So, yeah, thanks, Cutting Edge. Check for competitive prices that aren't $139.49 CAD on their website with shipping included or may not be. We'll see. Anyway, someone else likes some shit.
Hey. I made an Instagram post this year. Go like and subscribe.
It wasn't even this week, was it?
No.
It's like not even a relative statement.
I said this year.
This year.
Oh.
Go like it.
Oh.
Show us some love.
Yeah.
Having said that.
Oh, God.
Thanks to everyone who subscribes on Patreon. We continue to appreciate your support. Everything you donate will go back to you guys as a big thank you. We have it planned. Christmas 2023. That's a reality because that's this year. So, damn, son.
We almost need to start planning that.
Almost need to start. Yeah.
Not great. Not great.
And yes, thanks for reminding us, Ben. Once again, we will mention that we are MIA next week. Places and times and things. I got to sell superhero shit to superhero people. So, yeah, we will see you in a couple weeks here. So,
indeed.
I don't know that they're superhuman people, but
well,
I also don't want to argue with them about it.
Their mother tells them that they're superhuman.
They're a special boy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you rain on that parade, Paul.
I will.
All right. On that note, we covered everything. We covered everyone.
I think
so. Like, subscribe, share on YouTube. Thanks for joining us every week here, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. 7/15, beginning of May, I guess.
It's looking like it.
Yeah. Having said that, thanks for joining us, guys. I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am there and Joe.
Well, XL.ca.
Thanks for joining the shit show, guys. We'll see you the week after next.
Don't make me pull out my goodbye guns.
Oh, God, I forgot about the big guy guns.
The big guy?
The big guy guns? Oh, God, it's MacGyver. His goodbye guns.